Hi everyone, this is the_0myth here with a tier list for Legend of Ace. You might know me better by my in-game name BL8. Before I start, I'd like to describe how I set up the tier list and why it's from S to F, as well as what they mean. So, S is going to be your usual S plus type stuff. These are going to be the people that you will always want to pick if you can, and that they have relatively easy ways of winning games by themselves. Like, you don't have to focus too much on a team. So the next two tiers are going to be closely related, A and B. The only difference between them is going to be A are going to be the general purpose heroes that you can always pick no matter what's going on, and it'll be okay. And that the B characters are going to be fulfilling some type of niche, but that they might even be better than A characters at that niche. C and D are going to be very similar to A and B in that way. They're just going to be lesser forms of them. F is going to be your usual, you just don't want to pick them. There are better options. And then the very bottom one is going to be unsure/new. And this just means that I don't really know how to place them yet, or that they have some type of aspect in their kit that I don't know what to do with them. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's start off with the tier list. The very first person that I'm going to put up on the board is going to be Heracles. Heracles is going to go up into S tier. The reason is that there is not a single other character that I know of that can 1v5. Well, yeah, just like that they can 1v5, but not by playing safe, but by literally just being in the middle of everybody. What you want to do to get Heracles to that point is you want to build him crit, lifesteal, and the agility card. What this is going to do for him is that when late game hits and he's got his ultimate on a low cooldown and all of his abilities are ranked up and are very useful, it's just going to absolutely emphasize his survivability, because he's going to have knockups. He's going to have almost 50% mitigation. In addition to that, his cooldowns are, or rather, his 2 is going to have 50% mitigation almost on it, and it's going to be resetting as he's slapping you. And he's going to be slapping everybody a lot, and if he's in the middle of a team fight, the cleaves on his melees is going to keep him alive so much better than you would ever possibly think. And just when it comes down to it, he outdamages marksmen. Like, they just don't deal enough damage to him versus how much he can hit them for. The only way that you ever beat a Hercules or Heracles is if you manage to CC chain him down till he dies. He's going to be innately tanky just because of his warrior status. And once you get your crit, lifesteal, and all that up, like about, I'd say like 40% is a solid margin if you really want to build him a little bit more tanky. But yeah, that's going to finish for Heracles. The next character I'm going to put up in there is Deny. And Deny is going to be up in S simply because of how much CC and damage she does. She has very long range poke, which is useful early game. And then it just transitions into just being a CC monster late game. Her ult will win you team fights by itself if it's placed properly. A person very similar to that would be Lyn. You can build Lyn one of two ways. The first way is you build him to where he hits you with autos a lot, and he comes in with a slingshot. That's a viable way. He's really tanky, and he just deals a lot more damage. It's much like the same as Hercules on that one. The other thing that you want to do with him is you just want to build him where you are just a full tank and your shield comes up fast. If you build him all HP and armor, his shield is not going to burst down easily late game, for one. And the second thing is that when it does pop, any squishy near it is going to take 1k damage. 900 and beyond is not uncommon for a full tank Lin to do. And the key part about him that makes him really, really good, though, despite the fact of how much damage he can do while remaining so tanky, is his ult. His ult, where it just concentrates the entire enemy team up on a single dot, is so important for mages. And if you get like a Deny and a Lin together on the same team, it's GG. The next one might surprise you guys. It would be Teslin. I'm going to put Teslin up into S. He also has two potential builds. You can build him a carry, where you emphasize his dashes and the dash resets or the blink resets. That's okay, and he definitely deals a lot of damage, but the problem with that is that it's really clunky in that way, because the dashes are not like marksman dashes where it's just like a quick animation. He has to wait for it, and while every single time that he hits, it's going to deal more damage than any sort of marksman can output with a single attack. I don't know if it balances out with how squishy he is, so the better way of doing it is to build him a full tank with a lot of the cards that give him HP and damage. What that's going to do is when he comes flying out of a bush late game, what's going to happen is he's going to pop all of his abilities at once, and whatever squishy was underneath his ult at the time is just going to vaporize. And he's going to be tanky enough to wait for his cooldowns to reset to where he can do it again. Because if there was anybody that didn't die when he comes flying in with his ult, they are going to die the next time that he comes running at them with the Eddy and his blink. Now, the next character, and the very last one that I'm going to put into S tier is, no, not Minotaur. Where is he? It's going to be Moreau. Moreau is going to go up into S specifically for a single card. There is a card that makes his ult a stun. And what that means is that you're going to have a character with a AoE bigger than I've seen on any other ability in the game. So it's a massive AoE. It lasts for about 5 seconds, and that entire time people are being stunned. It'll literally keep a whole team, an entire enemy team, stunned for 5 seconds straight. That's insane. Like, you don't even have to consider the rest of the kit once you get that ultimate up. The problem with that becomes picking your moments of when to ult. Because, like, whenever you ult, that person's dead. Or that group of people is dead. Like, it's just a guaranteed thing at that point. Anyhow, what's going to start our A is going to be Dracula. You can always pick Dracula. It will always be a good idea. You don't have to even build him with any defense because of how much HP he gets from his overdraft. As long as you're building overdraft on Dracula, you can kind of do whatever you want. I would really suggest the one that resets his leap every time that he leaps onto somebody with a mark. That just makes it to where he has really high chase potential and really high escape potential if things ever do go wrong with him, which is really hard since he just heals so much and deals so much damage. The next character is going to be Mokazuki or Makazuki. She's going to go up into A because of how safe she is at insta-deleting a carry. That's literally it. She can dash in, pop her 2, ult, and then either instantly kill that carry, or she can use the ult to get out if she's ahead and she's already killed them. It just makes her a super safe character to play with. She just doesn't take very much damage when she's deleting that person. It's a lot like Teslin in that way. The next character that I'm going to put up in there is going to be Takeko or Takaku, I think. Yeah, Takaku. Or no, I don't know. Takeko, I think. Uh, Anyhow, she's going to go in for much the same reason. If she looks at a carry level 4 and beyond, that carry is dead, and there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. And if you're in the middle of a team fight and you have a Takeko come out of a bush a little bit after everybody started fighting, then all the CC and stuff is already going to be blown on other people that have already engaged, and she's just going to have a free kill, is how that works. Even if she dies afterwards, her ability to just remove somebody from the game, and it's a guaranteed thing if you're building Takeko correctly. Yeah, it's just really good to have like a 5v5 become a 5v4 instantaneously. Or not instantaneously, but you get the idea. The next character is going to be Oakley. Oakley is going to go up into A because of how easy it is for her to get crit. She comes online really fast, and when she is online, you can guarantee that she's going to be online the entire game. It's just how it works. She's pretty safe while she's doing it too, so there's not much to hate about Oakley. She's just really solid. The next character that I'm going to put up there is going to be Ogier, or Ogier. Ogier is going to go up into A because as a support, I would put him second only to Lin. He will literally make an assassin's life terrible. He's got a stun for when they come in. And then his second and ult will make sure that you're either getting stunned again with that one card for his ult, or that carry just suddenly got a massive amount of healing, because it's like something like, I don't know how much it heals for, but it heals for like percentage of his maximum HP, and then that's what the shield does, and then his ultimate heals for their percentage of max HP. So the overall difference when you try and hop on somebody that Ogier is protecting is you just don't. Like, they just suddenly have a second health bar that you have to chew through, and it just doesn't work if they're a carry, because they're going to kill you before you kill them at that point. The person after that is going to definitely be Siren. Siren is spooky. Like, she is very spooky. I appreciate Siren a lot. Because of how much CC she has. Her being able to give somebody invulnerability for a certain period of time is also really, really nice. But mostly it's just because if you get caught out by her little charm thing, where you just like slowly walk towards her, that's like a 2-second stun, man. Moreau might have a better ult, but to have something like that on, like, I don't even know how long the cooldown is, but it's pretty short for how valuable that is. Anyhow, after Siren, I'm going to put Hestia. Hestia is just capable of one bursting. It's a lot better than Deny in that way, but in Deny, she just has CC that encompasses a whole team. Hestia has CC on a single target and just removes that target entirely. Plus, I'm pretty sure that her passive, which is supposed to be on a 10-second cooldown, is actually on a 5-second cooldown in game. So it just makes her poke early game insane. She's just got a lot of range, and then like once she gets her ult, she's just got a one combo off cooldown. And yeah, it's just solid. The next one that I'm going to put up there is going to be Odysseus. Odysseus is going to go into A because of his max HP damage. It's really good to deal with tanks. Plus, he's able to go invulnerable in his ult, which is all, like, it's nothing to scoff at when you have a marksman that can just go invulnerable for 1.5 seconds. Plus, I really like his second ability. which is the little blink thing. It makes him really good at kiting around melee characters, and it also makes it really easy to chase people. After Odysseus, we're going to put in Morrigan, wherever she is. Morrigan is an absolutely insane jungle. Her map presence, I think, is unmatched in the jungle because of just how fast she can clear. And she's actually really safe because despite the fact that she has to go in to deal her damage, the fact that she can get out instantaneously, like just like that, in addition to the burst damage, is just enough to put her. I'm not sure I would put her into S, but she's definitely like looking in that direction. After Morrigan, I'm going to put Flora. Flora deals a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. The problem with Flora is that she has to be very stationary while she does it. However, the fact that she has a solid 2.5 seconds of hard CC in her kit, I don't know. There's a lot of utility when you play Flora, and she's able to pick people in a way that like you don't see. Like you don't see marksmans with hooks. And it's very scary when you go up against a good Flora because unless it's late game and you're able to burst her down when she hooks you in or when she ults on you, you're just gonna die. Like that's just how it works with Flora. But she does have some noticeable weaknesses. I maybe should have put her in B, but I think she's good enough to where that niche can be applied to any game that you go into. After Flora, I'm going to put Loki. I think Loki is definitely my most favorite character. I enjoy Loki a lot. Um, I think he has a very, very high skill cap and that he's very risky if you don't know how to use him correctly. My opinion on Loki is that his ability to move around the map, I don't know, like it's only matched by Morrigan, and as Loki's doing his thing, like he can just be really safe. Like even though he's got close range, he's just so fast. And he's got a stun in his kit, he's got a heal in his kit, he's got AoE. I mean, you aren't always going to have the cooldown to abuse that to the best of your ability, but it's still, I still think that Loki is good, but he can also be played very, very badly and very, very well. After Loki, I'm going to put Minotaur or Minotaur. He just is a lot of CC. Like he's just straight up full belly tank, and then he just walks at you with CC in every aspect of his kit. There's just not really much to hate about that, you know? Like he's got mobility. Every single one of his abilities has CC, and he's just a full tank. That's there's nothing much more you could ask for on the front line, to be honest. After that, I'm going to push Arthur. I think Arthur is a really, really good early game bully. And that negation of all range damage in his ult is definitely scary. The problem that I have with Arthur is I don't know if anybody's found a perfectly good build for him yet, or that at the very least I have not seen one in NA yet, North America. You also don't see Arthur all that often, and I just feel like Arthur and Hercules bring the same thing. The problem is that Arthur doesn't scale as well as Hercules does, which is weird to say, but Hercules just has a lot more damage mitigation in general than Arthur does late game, even if Arthur has like better steroids on paper. After Arthur, I'm going to put Deborah. If you've ever fought a good Deborah, you will understand that she is just capable of nuking you and locking you in place unless you have like a blink or a jump. I don't know. She's just really tanky and she brings a lot of utility to a game. You shouldn't scoff at her mobility either when it comes to Deborah. I'm going to put Beamon after Deborah. Beamon is really insane from the jungle. Like, if you've ever, out of all the bots that you could possibly find in jungle, I find the Beamon bot to be the very, very best one. Because, I don't know, he's just got a lot of maximum HP damage. Like, a solid, like, 24%. 8% of that is, like, true damage, and the other 24% is AoE, or the other 16% is AoE. So, and that's just talking about like max HP. That's like a fourth of your health bar, in addition to the fact that it's already got really high damage on his mobility or on his abilities anyways. It really frees him up to build really tanky and to still deal a massive amount of damage, and it's just scary. It's just really scary to go up against a Beamon that has like maybe an eviscerate and that's it for damage. And then you just die anyways. Yeah, I definitely like Beamon a lot. After that, I'm going to put Bellona. Bellona is going to go into A because of her ability to absolutely lock everybody down in a team fight. Because, like, once she hits one person with her ult, everybody's ult. Like, you can't move for 1.5 seconds. There's value in that. As a Loki main, I really hate fighting Bellona because of that. Because once she hits me, I'm dead. She doesn't have as easy access to crit as Oakley, but she does get crit easily. And she also just deals massive AoE damage with her cleave. After Bellona, I'm going to move on to B tier, actually. Where's Morrigan? A lot of people might hate me for this, but I feel like Morrigan is... She brings a lot of damage to the table, and the mobility from her passive is super strong. You don't even have to build boots when you run Morrigan, and if you do build boots, then you're flying around the map. The problem that I have with her, though, is that she doesn't have hard CC, and you're just looking to blow damage. In extended engagements where she can just dip out, throw out her stuff, and then dip back, and then just burst somebody down with an ult when they get low enough, that is perfectly fine. But when I think about somebody like a Hestia or a Deny who can do the same thing but faster and more guaranteed, I don't know. I just feel like you have to put yourself into unsafe situations when you're playing against a Morrigan. What I will say, though, is that she has an excellent early game. After this, I'm going to put Olsen. Now, Olsen, I think, is a terrible character, except for one thing. If you build a suicide Olsen, he will split push like nobody I have ever seen in the game. If it weren't for that, I might put him in C or D, but if you build him with the idea that you're going to take turrets and that when you die, I think it's called Death Horn, you will like follow somebody and kill them anyways for even trying to contest you. I don't know. He's just better at split pushing than any other character that I've seen in the game. He may not have the best mobility, he may not have the best sustainability, but when you see him running down a lane, you got to be very, very careful. After Olsen, I'm going to put Hela or Hela. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Where is she? There she is. She has a lot of potential. I feel like if she ever got specialized cards for herself, she would definitely be propelled into like maybe A or S because of just how nuke ability like her ultimate gives her. Like she's just able to appear in a way that like you don't see any other character appear except for maybe Thanatos. But she's just got a lot going on in her kit that's like solid. A 1.5 second stun is nothing to scoff at when you're getting slapped at by an assassin. After Hela, I would have to put Elros. I'm not a big fan of Elros, but what I do know is that Elros is scary at very, very long ranges. You get an Elros that knows his stuff, and he hits you off screen. Yeah, it's just absolutely excellent poke. Um, that's kind of all he brings, other than the AoE poke. He can technically fight off assassins, but it doesn't work in practice. Uh, Eros is solid though. I would say he's definitely a niche pick. After that, I'm going to be moving into C. My very best C tier, I think, is going to be Edic. Edic is going to be in C because while he brings a lot of stuff and he brings area denial, kind of, and all that, he just isn't safe enough. His level 1 is pretty good just because he spawns into the game with a massive shield. But other than that, his ult can definitely win team fights though. Or it's not as strong as like say a Moreau ulting, but still you get everybody pulled to the center. There's value in that just like there's value in Lin. The problem is that unlike Lin, Edic has to build himself pretty squishy, and if he doesn't have his ult up, he's just kind of dead. Uh Moreau might be the same way, but I would say that Moreau out damages Edic in a one-on-one. So if you build Moreau with lifesteal, that would definitely help you a lot. Um, After Edic, I would put probably Endarvi. Endarvi is going to go into C. He's a tank. He's a tank, but then you compare him to Minotaur and you wonder why you're picking him. Uh, He's got stuns on his autos. That's okay. He's got slows. He's got a push. I think that there's a lot of potential for like flash push plays for Andarvi, but I don't know. I haven't seen anybody use him super well, and while his ult deals a lot of damage, I just can't say that I value him over other tanks or even other warriors. After Andarvi, I'm going to put Achilles. I would say Achilles is alright. He isn't super good. You have to be really low HP for him to be built effectively. There is a card for that where if you're below like 30% or 40% HP, you get like an extra 80 damage, I think. That is definitely a staple on him. And if you build him tanky enough and with like enough lifesteal, uh, he can do a lot. He can do a lot. I wouldn't say that he's particularly better than anybody else. A lot of his ability just comes that he's deceptively tanky is mainly what he has going for him. But I don't know if that's enough to put him anywhere above C. After that, I'm going to be moving into D tier, starting with Endor. Endor just takes a lot of careful positioning, and you have to get in super close to get the best value out of his roots and his ult and everything about him. So just the fact that you have to get in so close on such a squishy character with no mobility, even if he does heal, I just don't know if it's enough. Maybe if he healed for like 20% of all the damage he dealt, it would put him in a place where Dracula is, where, you know, you just heal for way too much for anything else to happen. But he just doesn't have that much healing to combat how risky he has to play yet. Darn. Okay. Happened again. Sorry about that, guys. So after that, I'm going to put in Media. Where is she? There she is. Media is solid. She is able to one combo squishies, but in the middle of a team fight, since she doesn't have any iframes outside of her ult, as far as I can tell, when she goes in to unlock her ult, she dies before she can get it off. That's the only real problem I have with her, is the fact that her ult has to be done after an extended engagement. And you don't always get that chance, especially in a team fight with how squishy you are and how damage you have to build for to get the most out of her. But I will say that if she gets ahead, she is a monster, and you can definitely play her into the in the jungle if you're like really looking to do that. After that, I would put Thanatos. Thanatos is a absolute hard counter to Marksman. There is not a single other character I can think of in the game that counters Marksman harder than Thanatos does. However, outside of that, he is super unsafe, and I don't know. He's just really unsafe. You ever put him up against a Hestia or a Deny, he dies. You put him up against an Oakley. Oakley, it depends on if she can roll away or not. Because the second you get him out of his fog, he just doesn't bring a whole lot to the table. I mean, his ultimate deals a lot of damage, but it also doesn't lock them in place long enough to get the whole thing off. So, I don't know. He just doesn't bring a whole lot outside of just saying, you can't kill me, to like marksman. As long as they aren't using abilities. After that, I'm going to put in Medusa. Medusa is also going to go into D. She deals a lot of damage. And the problem with that is that it's really close range. And she doesn't have mobility. So, a close range marksman doesn't usually work unless you're Loki. I guess that's all there is to say about it. Her 2 is good for poke, though. You can definitely use her 2 to poke a lot. Okay, where did I do? I know that I just accidentally moved somebody. Who did I move? Oh, I put Elros up. My bad. Alright, so after that, I'm only going to have one more person in D tier, and it's going to be Arjuna. Arjuna is going into D tier because while he does have long range, it comes at the cost of his mana, and it also comes at the cost of his survivability. He doesn't have a way to escape if he's ever jumped upon. If you really want to use Arjuna correctly, bring him into top lane. Bring him into top lane. He is scary top lane. But just as a regular marksman, I don't know. I just don't know if he's safe enough. His ult is much like Edict's ult, but at least Edict has a lot of like survivability built into his passive. He just doesn't have that. And I don't know. Now I'm going to be getting into our final 3. Don't worry, they aren't all in F. The only person I'm putting in F is Shipton. Shipton needs help. She does not have enough healing, or enough healing frequently enough to be good, I think. If you want somebody who has burst healing, like run an Ogier or a Siren. Her being able to heal you up out of combat is really good early game, and that's where I think Shipton shines, when people don't have enough damage to deal with her just walking at them. But the second you get beyond that, she's just too squishy to like deal with stuff. And while you can technically build her tanky and make her a little bit more survivable, it's really troll to do that in the first place, because if you want to build like a tankier support, just do Minotaur or something. Like, there's just not a whole lot of reason to pick a Shipton compared to any of the other supports that you can think of. The fact that her ult is pretty strong doesn't necessarily mean that the heal or the potential stun is long enough or strong enough to work. I just don't know what to say about Shipton much. After that, I'm going to be putting in Brynhild and Bradamante. Brynhild is going to be going, both of them are going to be going into Unsure. Brynhild mostly because I don't the player count is so low that I don't see her frequently enough. And I actually don't have a clue what most of her abilities do, besides the fact that she might be similar to Riven from League of Legends. But other than that, I don't have any other comparison that I can think of. Her abilities work a lot differently from Riven's, as far as I can tell. They're just similar-ish. I just don't have enough info on Brynhild. I actually don't have a single clue what her ult does, since the description is so vague. When it comes to Bradamante, though, Bradamante is the person that I'd love to put into S, but at the same time, I don't know if she deserves to be there. So I'm putting her into unsure. The thing that I know for certain about Bradamante is that come late game, when you are level 13 or above, and you've got that thing where your abilities crit, and you have that thing where, what is it? It extends her ult duration by 1.5 seconds. You pair those two together with that double lunge card, and she can double lunge into the back line. While critting on the lunge, mind you. It deals more damage than any of her autos could possibly do. Even if she's slapping them with crits while she's doing it, her lunges will do more damage that way. So once she's like lunged onto them, she can ult, and that ult will be long enough to absolutely wipe a team by itself. A lot of these characters can say that they have team fight ultimates that will change the game, but there's not a single other character that I can think of that just goes completely invulnerable and one-shots whoever you want. I've had moments late game where I just ult as Bradamante because somebody hopped on me and they die. Like, there isn't really any counterplay. They use their mobility to get in. They don't have enough to get out. And she just ults. And you watch their full HP bar just drop, and then they're dead. And then you're still going. And I don't know. The problem that I have with her is that she doesn't have enough attack speed, in my opinion, outside of her first ability. I feel like if you really want her to like work properly, you might want to build like an agility, which seems stupid since she's got such a massive steroid from her too. And then build her tanky, but I feel like that would not maximize the one thing that I think she is absolutely broken for, which is just her ultimate. If you build those three cards, the double lunge, the abilities crit, and the extra duration on her ult, she will literally get into the back line and then just pop in vulnerability for like a solid like 4.5 seconds and people die. They just disappear off the face of planet Earth. All right. I think that'll do it. I would like to mention one thing before I completely end this, though, is that this is my personal opinion. I would say that... Oh, gosh, I hope that didn't... Okay, good. Anyhow, sorry about all the screw-ups. I've kind of spent way too much time on this and screwed up too many times. So I'm going to call this one good. And I would absolutely adore it if anybody who disagreed with me or agreed with me, I would absolutely love if you all like commented or did something and like told me what you thought about what I thought, or where you would place other people or how you would do it. I just feel like there's not enough information out there right now, and I'd just like to be the first step forward if I could. Yeah, anyhow, see you guys next time. I appreciate all the feedback that I'll hopefully get. And yeah, have a good night.